Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Everything at Random. Next episode, like I said, I'm not gonna stop. We're gonna keep on going with it. And I brought on one of my greatest friends who talked to me about this podcast stuff, who told me about it a long time ago before I even got onto my shows I was on with my previous people, you know. But let's get right into it. My guy, Caps. Give the audience a little background. I've been on his show. Show him much love. Give him a little
What up,
background.
world? What up, world? It's your boy Caps from Caps Corner Store. Like, share, subscribe on the channel. Basically, the thought process of that was having a corner store is basically the epicenter of any vibrant inner city. It's a hub for everybody, hub for information. So the conversations that I had in front of them are some of the best conversations you ever walk through while you're getting your chopped cheese or your bacon, egg, and cheese in the morning. And I kind of wanted to bring that feel anywhere and everywhere. So I would bring guests, interesting people that I thought were interesting people, and we would just have these conversations, you know, give a little backstory about them, what they're doing with their life, what their purpose is, you know, what their aspirations are, you know, how they give back to the community if they do so, you know, just that kind of stuff. And then, you know, I would give them, you know, 5 questions at the end, you know, kind of like a lightning round. So basically that's what the channel is about. The thought process of Caps Corner Store was to bring those guests and have them be featured on a podcast that I used to work on. It used to be Sucker Free Podcast. Shout out to Mimi, Milmatic, my homegirl, and my boy Flacco from Herbs All In It. That's another channel you guys should go follow. Great family fun. They give tips on cooking clean, home gardening, all that shit. They're just a great life channel. Go check them out too.
Oh, much love to them. I just saw Flacco not too long ago. I think it was TM's birthday.
Yeah,
we did it up.
Man.
We did it up, man, and he was killing it. He even did like a commercial for the taco stand that was over there and everything. It was like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. That shit was hilarious. But let's get right into it. Name of this episode, I'm gonna call it "All We Need Is One Mic."
Lil Nas, shout out to the
you know what I
GOAT.
mean? So last episode, I talked about a lot of things I lost, and one of the things I lost was, you know, a previous podcast, my team I worked with, and I talked about how hard it was to try to figure out and navigate my way through it. My friend here also didn't lose the team; it's just he decided to go on his own, and I wanted to dig a little bit deep on that. I wanted to figure out, you know, certain things that I want to learn about your travels going through this. So when you made the decision to go solo, what was the biggest adjustment you had to make in terms of handling everything on your own?
I think personally, the transition wasn't very difficult because when you're working in a team, there's certain things that are delegated for each other. So, like, for example, when we started Sucker Free Podcast, again, shout out to my girl Mimi, Milmatic. My first job was just there to moderate. She had taken care of all the editing, you know, and then we just divvied out all the other things. Like, I was responsible for bringing guests. You know, so, like, there were certain things in the workload, like, you know, every other week we would purchase a beer. It wasn't like one person was doing it all the time, but when you have a group of people and they don't have much to do, there's things you kind of like, you designate them to do, you know? So being that on our show, it got to a time where I was doing the editing, right? And Mimi was doing more of the researching aspect. Like, you start to get your hands on everything, so you kind of understand how things, you get an understanding of how to do it yourself. You know, so I think that for my experience, it was kind of, the transition was kind of easy because Caps Corner Store was basically another vehicle to try to connect it with Sucker Free. You know, so if I was to bring up a guest on Sucker Free, we wouldn't have to go through an interview process on the podcast. I would just direct you to the video. and then we could just get into the shenanigans of what the show was.
All right.
So for me, we had a great time doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other thing that makes the transition easy is when your partner is all for it. You know what I mean? When Dave got your back and they're like, yeah, you know what, like that's a great idea. If it could bring traffic to the show, anything that could bring traffic to your pod,
yep,
is a beautiful thing. So once you get to the point where it's like, yeah, like we're not, things happen. Like for example with Sucker Free, like the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And then after the pandemic happened, Mimi ended up, having another kid. So it's like, where do we have the time to record? To have that consistency, just like, you have to be consistent to gain real traction. Because once people know what day you're released, you better
they expect it. And then what happens? And you don't, you know what? You're like on the bottom, and everything else that they describe to, they're watching that, they forget about you, and you have to be relevant. That's what bothered me the most. When the team just left, like I didn't continue on. I didn't keep on making myself relevant. So the transition for me and the biggest adjustment for me, like unlike you, like I felt like I was the talent. And we said this, with talent. We're the talkers. We do all that shit. But like I focused more on just bringing the guest and doing that stuff. That's what I focused on. I didn't really focus on anything else. So getting it together and being my biggest critic, because I think I always relied on somebody else to tell me like, this looks good, this doesn't look good. To me, everything I did, I'm like, this is not good enough. This is not on the level of what this was, that was, or anything.
Well, I think like you create your level. I think like a lot of times you have to do this thing like you're running a race by yourself.
Yeah.
You're trying to beat your own time. Right? It's like when you first start running, like you do a mile in 45 minutes. You start saying, okay, well, let me get it to 40 minutes. There's an accomplishment. 30 minutes. I remember when we had 10 subscribers, 10 downloads. We didn't want to throw a party. I was like, yo, Memes, it's cool. Like, we still got a lot of work to do. But yeah, like it's I think that within the group, it's a lot easier transition when you have support from that person.
Yep. And then also the back and forth, the banter. And I never realized, and that's another thing I said, it was like, I have these conversations. You know what I mean? You have these conversations playing it out before you get into an argument with somebody with the shit that you about to talk about or the things that you about to say. You'd be like, oh, this might be a rebuttal. This is something. Why I'm so quick with it most of the time, or I'm so on top of shit, is because I'm already having the conversation. I'm playing it out so many different times in my head. So I'm already thinking about it. You know what I mean? And I was like, I lost that. I forgot that I'm that fucking dude. We that dude that we can just sit here and talk. And people would fucking enjoy it. You know why? Because they relate to the shit. A lot of motherfuckers is not as authentic. And then, like, another thing is like everything is so fucking scripted and like so this and that. And sometimes like you gotta go off script and just go off. And I felt like I was looking at the time. I was looking at this. I was like,
I mean, well, it can be, right? Like the one thing that was great about our pod was I'm the moderator, right? So I'm the one divvying out the questions, the topic. Mimi had no idea, right? So we could have talked about anything. It's me. I'm setting it off for the rest of the panel.
Yep.
But then there were times in the show where, like, we're drinking booze. Having a good time, and she's giving people multiple choice questions that are goofy and like there's no right answer. So she was in total control. We didn't know. So it was kind of like you had to be on your toes at all times, because that's like what any kitchen, living room, watching the football game conversation was. And that was the kind of feel that we tried to create there, and I think we did a good job, man. I
loved it. I loved the show. It felt. I loved the beers or the bitch.
The bitch of the week, man. Oh,
you know what I mean? Like I loved all that. So, was there any transitions that you had to navigate, unexpected challenges that you faced during that time? Like,
I think one of the biggest challenges is keeping the level of consistency recording. Right? So our biggest problem was after the pandemic, we tried to relaunch it, but we just couldn't get back to the level of recording every week. You know, so then when Mimi was pregnant, I brought in my boy Flacco, and like the show was kind of more of like a life. It wasn't really sports, life and debauchery. It's more like life and debauchery, and we kind of brought like more of a hip hop music, more topic based. So it was kind of like doing two different shows. But you know, when you have people that have real lives, you know, Flacco works for Con Ed.
Yeah,
he could have a 40-hour a week. His week could be 60. You know, so it's kind of like trying to figure when you can have that level of consistency. And I think that was our issue. I think the other issue that some people fall into is that they expect the results when they want them instead of when the results are ready for you to accept them.
Ooh. Say that again. Say that again.
I think people fall into the fact like they're in it and they want the rewards on their time, not when it's their time.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like,
I like that.
It's true because, like, okay, we had on Sucker Free podcast. I'm talking about we're not buying no downloads, we're not buying no ad, no generic. Mm-hmm. We had 25,000 downloads, almost 30,000 downloaded episodes. That's with no. This is just brick and mortar to the bone. You know, and we had a couple of opportunities with some other podcasts that liked our stuff and try to like incorporate us. But you know, like those things didn't pan out. Those things that happens. That means the blessing wasn't ready for me.
Yep.
It wasn't ready for us. You know, like you gotta, you know, Joe Budden, Gillian Wallow, those guys didn't just hop on the scene and have
they paved though. Joey paved.
They did 100%, but they had to grow their audience too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And these are people that have an audience. You know what I mean? Like this is, you know, so you have to be authentic. And that's that. Like I know everybody says that, but you have to be authentic, and you have to be authentic in accepting the blessing. You have to love it and be able to do it when it's not, you know, when you're not making
when nobody's watching. You gotta love it when nobody's fucking watching, because there's times that you're gonna sit there and keep on doing it and nobody probably watch. You know, the suckiest part is the people that you know who are your closest friends sometimes won't even invest into it.
Oh, well, they're not supposed to.
You know what I mean?
Because I'll just put it to you like this, JR.
Mm-hmm.
If we lived on the same block and I'm a garbage man and you're a garbage man, nothing wrong with that job. It's actually a good profession. And you say, yo, Nick, I got this idea. We fucking talk bullshit all the time. Let's fucking record it. I'm like, nah, whatever. But I go watch Joe Budden. And I go watch Wallow. And I go watch whoever's out there. And then you start your own. You buy the equipment. You start from scratch. You fucking basically record it from your phone. Whatever the case may be. And I don't give you the time of day. Because who the fuck are you? You're just a garbage man like me. How dare you? It's like, how dare you do that?
Ooh, true.
How come I can't take the lead? How come I can't say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to put myself in front of everybody and do what I do on a day-to-day basis. So it's kind of like people that you know, it's kind of like the audacity of you to do that. So why would I expect them to fucking download for free? No, just hit the check. Don't even watch it. Hit the check for me.
Just download it. That's it.
Hit the check for me.
And they don't
Hit
even
the sub.
they won't even
Don't even download. Just sub. So when the episode
click
comes
on
out,
it, thumbs, and then swipe out and watch whatever the fuck you want to watch.
hey man, I tried my hand in music. It was the same thing when I did the pod. Same thing, man.
It's crazy.
And that's why it gets to a point where like you don't expect it. And one thing I've been learning this year, I would say in the past 2 or 3 years, and somebody has said this to me, and it stuck with me. You can't expect the way you treat people is going to be the same way they treat you. So you can't expect yourself and anybody else. You're only you.
Mm-hmm.
So you make the content, and people from Australia, shout out to Australia, England.
Yeah,
we had a lot of downloads from there. Like shout out to them because,
which is crazy. It's like they want that New York, Jersey fucking style. Like they want that shit talking. They get little things here and there, but this is different.
Tri-state, especially New York State, you're in the 5 boroughs or connected to it in any type of way. There's no better definition of authentic than this region,
Yep.
So like it gets to the point where I don't even get upset or annoyed when people don't subscribe or download. I have a lot of friends of mine that are in the creative space that's one of their biggest talking points is like they bitch about like how people don't download this stuff or don't share. I'm like, because they see themselves in you. How dare you go and do that when I don't have the balls to do that?
Mm-hmm.
You have a friend that has a clothing line, you ask for a free t-shirt, but you'll go fucking buy that Louis Vuitton bag.
Yep. It's crazy. Those are big facts. Moving along, reflecting on your time with your team. What were the key factors that led to the departure? Because you worked on with Mimi, I'm guessing it was just the baby thing and the timing. And then with Flacco, you did that. Did you guys have another show too?
We tried to get something off the ground. So me and Flacco had Caps and Flacco, which was an album review show. Which was a hip hop album review. And we had our criteria of rating albums. We weren't like because we're old people from a time where people used to listen to albums 1 through whatever the amount of the project was. So we would give our critique, and then we would rate them. We would rate the projects, and then we started getting into that, and then started transitioning into talking about topics. But again, life happens. So I think a lot of times folks get intimidated not intimidated, but they feel that they can include people that can give a resource that takes a little less off your plate. Right? So we incorporated a couple of friends of ours, and I had a gut feeling that it wasn't going to work out. So during the pandemic, we tried to get this thing along. We had a nickname for the crew. It was the Wash Squad because we washed up old men. Mm-hmm. And the person that was supposedly supposed to do the behind the scenes, was not was talking a good game about investment, but wasn't invested in it like everybody else was. But it didn't take long for him to copyright the name that we invented. So that didn't work out. I remember we did a 3-hour recording. This is how I knew it wasn't going to work. And I had a feeling. We did a 3-hour recording, and the gentleman had his responsibility was to edit. He couldn't get a 10-minute clip from a 3-hour recording. Now, I don't know about you, but when you do things by yourself, if I record 3 hours of something, I could give you want just the air cut out? You want 10-minute clips? You want 5-minute clips? You want me to edit out certain parts because you think it's not going to, make you look too favorable? Like, you can do that when you've sat down there and edited things. And you can't be in the tech field and tell me that 3 hours
you can't find
of recording, we don't have anything that's suitable to release. So that was kind of like the last straw in that project. So I think a lot of times you try to put people on, but like, gotta understand you can't catch things that don't want to get caught.
Oof.
And that's how that particular project, you know, didn't come into fruition. But at the same time, like I tabled a podcast that had at the time 19,000 downloaded episodes. You know, so I could have kept doing Sucker Free, and when Mimi's ready to rock and roll, she could hop back on, you know. But you know, I decided it was best for us to not record unless the two of us were, you know, we're doing it. So you know, I've been on the end of things that were bad, and you know, people steal your ideas or steal your slogans or whatever. And I've been on the end where everybody's cooperative and everybody has a level of understanding that we're not at a level of getting paid. So
we're not. We do this because we love to do this. I love doing this. I love talking shit with you.
Listen.
And I want people to listen right now because it seems like we're just talking about the podcast stuff. We're getting to know him a little bit more. But I want you to understand this transcends a lot of other things that go on in your life. And when I say that, let's talk about like whatever jobs, whatever people you worked with in the past, whatever things you've done in the past. Sometimes you feel as though like you need the team to be able to do those things. You need somebody to go with you. It could be the stupidest thing. You need somebody to go with you to the movies. You need somebody to go out to eat with. You can do these things by yourself. What we're talking upon is just this, but this is talking about life. Like you don't need anybody else but yourself when you want to enjoy.
Well, here's the other thing too. You don't need the team. You need a team. You know, I think that a lot of times, you know, folks get caught up in that too. You know, you need a team. You don't need the team. You know, going forward with Cap's Corner Store, like and we'll get into a little later about, you know, why there's been a delay with that as well. Like I had a family member that was supposed to do the editing. And guess what? Real life happens, bro. You got to get another gig. That shit happens. So guess what? Now I got to go find a person to edit. Now I got to find another person to I mean, I could do it myself, but why would I do that when I can get somebody that has experience in it?
Yep.
So, you know, so shout out to my boy Marv and shout out to my boy Ray. My boy Ray is an excellent sound guy. You know, his daughter is actually going to be doing the recordings. And, you know, my boy Marvin is a very talented, my band Marv's a very, very talented editor. So, you know, the content's going to look great. It's going to sound great. So it's like you find a team, and if you have to shell out or, you know, use certain resources, you know, to bring them along, then that's what you have to do. You know, that's what you have to do. And as it grows, you know, there's certain things that you can, you know, you can negotiate. But at the end of the day, you need a team. You don't need the team.
And when he says that, another thing you got to realize is like, just because that team member is doing it doesn't mean you can't learn from that team member. Make sure, because there's gonna be times that they don't want to do. Because guess what? The show, Cap's Corner, is your show. Correct. Everything at Random is my show. I can't ask somebody to do something for me that I know I can't do for myself. Correct. And like you said, like I could do it, but why if I can get somebody to do it? And that's another thing. Not only get somebody to do it, somebody that I trust and, you know, appreciates the stuff that I want to put out there.
You know what I mean? I agree. Listen, like I said, it's Sucker Free. When we first started, Mimi did all the editing. You know, but when you have a kid, you know, you're a single mom, sometimes you can't get to the editing. So guess what? Show me how it's done. No problem. But like when you can get somebody to take one responsibility, it gives you a good amount of time to put your energy somewhere else. Where you know, like getting guests. Or, you know, trying to look for advertisement or, you know, just networking. You know, I can't go to a networking event because I have to sit in front of a computer for 4 or 5 hours. Why do that when I can have somebody that does that? And it's gonna be they're gonna do more than their due diligence because that's something they love to do. You know, so it's those things are important when you're delegating things too. Like when you're delegating stuff, it's very important. So guys, whoever's out here trying to start a podcast or anything like that, like make sure that you're ready to get your hands dirty in all aspects. Yeah, because it's only going to help you out in the long run.
Mm-hmm. And like, look at me now. It may not be the prettiest thing, but like this is all me. You know what? It's content and it's all me. And talk about content and all that. Taking time away from podcasting, and I know I feel like it hindered me, but what are you doing to stay relevant? What are you doing now, or can you share your experiences getting back into this life, the things that you love to do from such a long hiatus? Because let's be honest, it's been a long hiatus for both of us. For us to get onto here and talk our shit, it's close to a year, my guy, right?
Yeah, actually,
I recorded with you. That was it like close to 2 years?
I believe our second anniversary will be next May. So yeah, it's been a year and a half. So, unfortunately, like I said, life happens, right? So I had a crew. I had one of my family members, a very talented videographer and very talented editor. He ended up getting another gig. So now I don't edit video. At the same time, I had some things going on with myself. So sometimes you got to take a step back. But like when you're away, that doesn't mean you're not thinking about the next move, right? So it was kind of like a stall. It's like, okay, well, when I get my schedule, we could work around. Then it got to a point where it's like, yeah, your schedule is not gonna work. It's not gonna work around.
Yep.
Right. So now I have to start using my resources, and using referrals, and people say, yeah, well, I know somebody that can yada yada yada, and that happens. I was hospitalized earlier this year. I found out I had a heart condition. And then I had a death, a humongous loss of my family. My grandmother, 88 years old, passed away. So
condolences.
Yeah, thank you. So you gotta prioritize certain things, but while you're away, the brain doesn't stop working. So like for me now, with the channel going forward, my idea is for it to run like a channel. Like if you went to Disney Plus, you have movies, you have Comedy Central, you have all these other things. So I'm going to start incorporating and doing other things, not just the one-on-one interviews. So
I remember we talked about going to fucking certain places and trying out food.
So guests that I've had or future guests, like those are the kind of things that we're going to incorporate on the channel. And because listen, potting is great, but like I kind of want to like really use my noggin and see how far my creativity can go. So that's what the plan is. And like I got some pretty talented people that are willing to put the creative juices together and and come up with some stuff. So, but I don't think that would have happened if I didn't have this time to think about it and map it out and get the right people that I feel can help me take this channel to where it needs to be.
And then that's another thing. You always have to realize when you stop doing these things, don't stop doing these things. It sounds weird, but it's true because you have to start thinking like, how do I do this? What would be my next move? Who should I connect with?
Yeah.
I have a list of fucking episode ideas, even though I wasn't in the right of mind during the.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't stop. It's not coming. It's just this part hasn't come out yet to be natural and have fun with it like that and be JR, that dude who talks his shit and has fun on here. And Yeah, I might. We all going through our own shit. Everybody after pandemic or even before pandemic, I think it hit us harder back not after that, just because we didn't we had to sit with ourselves and really like realize like, damn, bro, like I'm missing out on this or I should have been doing that, and now you're trying to catch up, and it doesn't matter what age you're at. Everybody started doing that shit. So just
but I don't even think about JR. I don't even think
Mhm.
about it catching up because we were talking about this before we got on the air. Like I'm running my own race. I'm not comparing my
Mhm.
time. Yeah, I mean,
My
listen,
journey is not
everybody.
your journey. You know what I mean? It may not work out the same.
And so trust me, there was a lot of opportunity lost not recording during the pandemic. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm sure you understand that too.
Yeah.
But it's more like I run my own race. I'm not putting what my creative ideas are against anybody. You know, like I also feel like that's the reason why I enjoy watching people I know, get into the creative field, because it gives me a chance to cheer for them because I want them to win too. Like, one thing about me, if you've ever met me in life, I want everybody to win.
Yep. That was the
And that
first thing
doesn't
that we
mean
connected on, matter of fact.
absolutely.
So
And
you
that
at
doesn't,
TMs and like we started talking, like I just want to see
yeah,
like, and I'm like, yo, I appreciate that. And
just do it.
I said that group of people are the most kind-hearted, real talking people I've met by far.
I
And I'm
appreciate
mad
that.
that I don't get to connect with as often as I would like.
Hey, but you know what? You don't worry about that. You just, it was funny. I was having a conversation with my cousin Dave.
Yeah.
And
Supreme Dave. Shout out to
my
Supreme
boy
Dave.
Dave. Shout out to Dave. And I feel like that the FOMO is a real thing for some people. The fear of missing out. My thing is that I just make the most of my time when I see people. Because we're adults, everybody has their life. Things put you in certain, on certain paths. Yeah, if we were 16, 17 years old, we'd probably be meeting up every fucking weekend. That's not what it is. We're we're grown people. We have lives. We have bills to pay. Some folks have families. Some people are married. Some people are newlyweds. Some people have, are in relationships where they don't, they focus on their relationship. That's their importance. And that's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I think it's taking the time and enjoying the time and making the most of your time when you have with people.
Yep.
That's
very important. That's very important. That time that you have with these loved ones or whoever it is, or let it be the team that you worked with in the past, whatever it was, enjoy those moments.
So you have Flacco out there cutting fucking commercials for a fucking taco restaurant. That's never even gonna be on TV.
You know what I mean? Like, there's things out there that you just have to enjoy, and don't be stuck in like, damn, I should have done this differently. I should have done that. Nah. If we stay in that, we'll never move forward. We'll never enjoy the time. I'll be stuck here just waiting, like, damn, I should have went.
Hey, JR,
If somebody asks you got the time, do it.
Sure. Listen, I'll say this again. I enjoyed my time with Sucker Free. If I never did Sucker Free podcast, if I never met Mimi for a beer at the Barney Stone, and she didn't ask me, because she was the biggest culprit of starting this whole thing. She's like, I want to do a podcast. I didn't even know what the fuck a podcast was. She's like, yo, I'll be listening to these murder pods, and I have an idea for one. I'm like, oh, were you trying to murder somebody? She's like, no, I got an idea for a show. I was like, oh, all right. She goes, yo, I want to call it Don't Be a Bitch. Which is kind of how we got the bitch of the week. It's like, don't be a bitch. And I just wanna rip into people who fuck up on the field. Like, look at when we were watching a game, and I think somebody like dropped a routine pop-up. She goes, look at this dude, man. This guy's a play professional. He's missing routine plays. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, if you need me to come in whenever you need me to come in. She's like, all right, cool. And then a couple of weeks went by. She's my happy hour partner. We used to play flag football in the co-ed. She's some athlete too. And she was like, yo, I really want to do this pod. I was like, all right. I was like, whatever you need. Whenever you need me to come in, you know, I'll come. She goes, nah. Like, I need you to be in it.
Yeah.
Like, I need to run ideas by you. I'm like, all right. I said, okay, so the first idea we're going to run by is we can't call it Don't Be a Bitch. We just can't we can't call it that. It's not, I said it could be a segment, which then became the Bitch of the Week, which is kind of like, you know, the epicenter of what the show was. But yeah, that was the first thing. And then, you know, I spoke to a very good friend of mine named Jamal Payne. He works at MLB. He's like he works in the podcast field, and he basically walked us through what we needed to do. You know, he was like, listen, if you're talking factual, make sure your facts are correct. And if you're talking opinionated, it's your opinion. But if you're talking factual, make sure it's facts.
Yeah.
Because you don't want people coming back and saying, oh, well, you know what? 1492 is when it comes out 1493. So you have to be on point with your facts. So if you're trying to relay it that way, and he basically told me, he's like, listen, everybody gets paid to have their opinion up there. Like, why can't you have your opinion? Why can't people listen to your opinion out there? He said, now you have the tools. And then he sent us to B&H. We got a podcast kit. Next thing you know, we were off to the races. And, you know, and everything, you know, stemmed from that. So I could never not, like, love and enjoy that experience. And, you know, when I gave Mimi the news that I was, you know, basically, like, kind of just gonna do Cavs Corner Store, she was like, yo, if you want to just do Sucker Free on your own, like, you can do it. I would never do that because that was ours. You know, I feel like that was something that our energies put together, so I wouldn't do that. But she was like, you really need to go out there and do it because you have the voice, like, you have, you know, you got it. So you need to go out there and do it to the fullest. So she's like, I don't want to feel like I'm holding you back. So that's a great way to, you know, to depart from a situation.
Feel you. We're gonna like clean it up a bit. We talked about those losses and how we came back from it, what's going on, what's moving forward.
Well, they're all gains, you know that, right?
They're all gains. No matter what, you know what? You're right. They're all gains. No matter what happens.
They are. Sometimes the best addition is by subtraction.
Say it again.
Sometimes the best addition is by subtraction.
Okay. And this is another reason I do this, is because sometimes I'm dead set. I'm like, nah, I don't like that. Like, it's fucked up how you did me. No, you're right. You know what? I shouldn't be mad. I shouldn't be mad at how things went or whatever. I should be like, you know what? You did me a favor. What was that? We were just talking about. Fucking Bronx Tale. My $20. He yells at my mans, where's my $20? He dips off. He's about to run after him. Then we do.
That's all he caught you. That's all it cost you. It's $20.
To lose him. That's it.
Never again.
But you learn from that.
You do. I mean? That's the learning experience. I mean, I think that's the most constructive way, you know, for you to get in the right headspace as well, you know, going further on and creating. You know, thanks for the memories, guys. You know, but you know, whether it's a great experience or a bad experience, you know, you gotta filter all that stuff together and move forward. You know.
What would you like to say to the people? Like, how did you stay positive, and how can they stay positive in this? And how do you view everything? We're gonna wrap it up like that, and also whatever else you want to tell the people, because I know you have so much knowledge. You bestowed to me so much knowledge. Matter of fact, right now, like I said, everything at random. This is like a therapy session, because we may be talking about this podcast, learning a little bit about you, but I just learned I shouldn't take it as a fucking loss. The best addition is
sometimes it's subtraction.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate that. But go ahead.
Now, of course. What was the question? What was the first question again? So I could...
How are you staying positive, pretty much, and how can everybody else stay as positive as you do? in whatever they want to do, because you know what I mean, we like I said, to me, I thought in my mind everything was a loss, but
nah. I think for me, I've been very lucky my whole life that I have supportive people that genuinely believe in everything I do. You know, so I think when you have that base, easy for those things to roll off you, because the real people that really, really fuck with me, they're gonna do that regardless. Regardless if I try my hand in music, if I try my hand in podcasting, if I try my hand in pickleballing, even though I don't play pickleball, that's for squares. But
hey, yo, we're gonna slow down right there.
Well, for me, you know what I'm saying? But I think that when you have a good foundation of people that really genuinely, you know, are supportive, it's easy for you to do that. You know, because here's the other thing too, like you could wake up every day and say it's cloudy. It could be, say it's a beautiful day, it's 90 degrees, it's not a cloud in the sky. You could wake up today and be like, oh, it's Monday. I got 5 more days to the weekend. Or you could say, today's Monday, let's get this Monday. And then wake up Tuesday and be like, let's get this Tuesday. Let's get it day by day. You know, let's start the week off on a good note.
Don't think about tomorrow.
Let's get it today. And if today don't work out, fuck it. It was just today. Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that the positive outlook comes from the people you're around. So like if you really want to do some life-changing shit, sometimes you got to look in your circle and look at the people that are kind of like around you that aren't, you know, putting energy in the battery for you. And I think that's important. I think that's very important, especially when, you know, the failures happen. But to me, they're not failures; they're lessons. You know, and that's the way I've always kept myself at a positive thing. You know what I mean? That's just it. And I think that if anybody is thinking about getting into the space, just create. You can figure it out on the way. Mm-hmm. Trust me.
It gets better. It gets better.
Trust me. It's and not even just in the creative space. Like if you wanted to be a teacher, if you wanted to quit your job and enter a field of anything, like, you know, like you have the confidence in yourself. Have the confidence that you have the ability to learn, and have the ability that if you do make the mistakes, they're not mistakes, they're lessons.
Yep.
You learn from them and you evolve and you elevate. You know, I think that's the most important. I think that's the most important thing. I think there's so much negative going around. So much negative. If you could, I heard this on Joe Budden's podcast. They were talking about if you could push something positive 1% forward, you know how much fucking change that would be? How much that changes your scope, the way you think, the way you look, the way you carry yourself. Mm-hmm. It would be immense. So why can't we do that for things that we are passionate about? You like taking pictures? Go pick up that camera and go take pictures. Develop them. How many YouTube channels are there for photography?
So many.
Shit ton. You know, so like you can, the information's there. Like, you know, you don't gotta waste it on sending 1,000 memes a day. You could actually use it as a tool. Nah, you know what I mean? Like,
I just got back on Instagram and I'm just like, my boy just fills up his soul story. I think it's like the whole fucking day of memes, and he'll send me the same memes that were in the story. I'm like, my guy, I just saw your story. You know what I mean? But put out the stuff that you love, you know. And this goes out to him because he sends me these memes and shit. My guy, you're an amazing artist, digital artist. You have an eye for fashion. Do your thing, my guy. Like, what are you waiting for? Every one of you people that's out here, what are you waiting for? Just like in fucking I Know What You Did Last Summer. What are you waiting for? You know what I mean? Like, Just
Hey,
do
listen,
it.
man. I haven't been on YouTube for a year, but I've been posting my track lists on my Instagram page. If you look at them,
Boom.
you know, so it's do what you love, man. We only get one lap around here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who's the bar? Like, you set your own bar out here. You know what I mean? Like, you don't start comparing. Don't start. Run your own race. Enjoy your life. If you're passionate about something, do it, man. You don't even have to put it out there for people to see. Just do it for yourself. You know, that's the biggest thing, man. To me, I'm already middle-aged. I'm already a middle-aged dude. You know, like, I'm not getting. The numbers are going up from here. They ain't down.
Nah,
You
it's
know,
going
so-
backwards for me. I got the Benjamin Button, my guy.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Going backwards for me,
grab
man.
the life by the horns, man, and do it, man. Just do it. You have an idea, do it. Nike had that slogan for years, bro. Who would have thought?
Yep. Let the people know where they could see you, where they could follow you, and then just give me your what's your goodbye speech? Or I'll see you later speech.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, first we'll get to the goodbye speech first. Instagram, Caps Corner Store. One word. Caps Corner Store YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe. We have shit ton of content on there. You check out the interviews. They're real cool. Catch up on it. We hopefully should be having some content starting up later in the summer, early fall. So keep an eye out. Hit the sub button. You know what I'm saying? I think my goodbye speech would be
I don't want to say goodbye. See you later.
the see you later speech.
See you later. Yeah.
I would say do what you love, man. Do what you love. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. That's my words.
All right. I appreciate you, my guy.
Hey, JR, thanks for having me, bro. Don't worry. We'll catch up soon, maybe on my channel.
Most definitely. So, like I said, everybody, this is everything at random. You know what I mean? We're having fun. We're enjoying it. We're learning things. And don't take it as we were just talking about one thing. We're talking about so many things that have to do in life. That positivity, that moving forward. Losses are not losses. You know what I mean? We're learning.
Oh, let me change it.
Go ahead.
Losses ain't losses. They're lessons.
Losses ain't losses. They're lessons.
Learn the lesson.
There we go. Love you guys. Like, subscribe, fucking enjoy the rest of your drive or whatever the fuck you're doing. Thank you for my therapy session, and I'll see you later.